Hello everybody, Fearmy Games to the next part of the TEI Cimmeria campaign. If you guys remember, Almul decided to attack the weakened Baktria, but Baktria had become our client state, because I was so kind enough to let them do that. But we decided to defend our client state, and so Almul is attacked one of our settlements. I forget the name of this settlement, but it is a mighty big army. The AI thinks I'm going to lose, but I think we're going to win it, as these guys are almost entirely cav, and we are an anti-cav faction, at least when it comes to defending settlements. I think we're going to win, unless they secretly have a lot more archers than they do. Since if these all look like just cavalry, which will break upon the head of our hoplite phalanxes. As after all, that is their duty. Their gerb. We're going to naturally use our weakest in the front line. Then we should probably have you just kind of holding the, you two holding the line over here. Honestly, you two should be the only line over here. But I wasn't sure if I really want to do that for a moment there, but I'm like, you know what, I should probably do that. Then we're going to have these guys back here in the second line of defense. Archers are ready in position. We only have a limited amount of caps, so we have to be very careful about how these guys get used, because they can very easily be overwhelmed by the enemy's superior movement capabilities. So let's see how the enemy decides to move their troops. The majority of them look to be going down the middle, but these guys might be flanking us. So we'll kind of have to wait and get an idea. Our cav are not as hidden as I thought they would be, so that's a bit of a concern, but oh well, nothing to do about it. We'll just fall them back a little bit, just to make sure that they're a little bit closer to our front lines. As you can see, they're about to charge up. Looks like they do have, these guys are, they look like these guys do have missiles. These light infantry guys. I mean those cavalry that I thought might not have any archer fire. So at least from the front they won't be able to kill us, but they could probably just whittle us down slowly but surely. But at least the melee infantry cavalry that charges in will get quite obliterated by the might of our spears. I understand that our generals are currently under attack by archer fire, but it's fine. Happens all the time. These guys are holding quite effectively, I would say. Now, they've lost 10 men, but they've also killed 9. They've lost more than they've taken. And that was when counting the enemy's charge, so I think that's valuable. These guys barely lost anybody, and they've gotten lots of kills. Does it reform the line? What does that do? Yeah, those guys are getting pretty beat up, so are these guys here. I would love to engage my cavalry on the right on this flank, but that would not go over well for them. You got this, boyos. Make use of those strong, stout spears. Yeah, with this, the enemy has officially been flanked, which is good for us. Looks like we're actually about to rout one because of it, which is perfect. I'm going to let those guys sit there for a moment until these guys engage. Once these guys engage, I'll pull these guys out. And a nice rear charge off there. Hopefully might finish that one off. Now we're going to pull these guys up before they start taking too much damage. Getting ready to do our next hammer and anvil. Looks like this enemy cav is going to try and follow. Not good for us, but probably good for the enemy. We want to make sure our cavalry they're getting pushed. But unfortunately now our cav is being turned around on. Now they're no longer the hammer. Now they are the anvil. But it's not a very strong anvil, comparatively speaking. So now they're just getting obliterated. I'm going to try running these guys away. See how that works out for us. Our general's bodyguard is not really touched very much, which is good. Men are wavering. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're wavering. They got pretty beat up there. Unfortunately, they just shattered. I'm going to try running the anvil away. Try running these guys away from the fight. Looks like the enemy is breaking up on the front. Perfect. And now they're chasing my cav away. It's not good. If somehow they're actually able to keep up with my dudes too, despite the fact that my guys are lighter than them, that's not good at all. Now they've been both been broken. And that's really bad. We need to sacrifice this cav unit for the greater good. We need to get them to. We need to have them to prevent the cav from. Stop the enemy cav from getting where they're not supposed to. General, do what you're told, buddy. Now, honestly, pulling those guys out of the fight ended up being a really bad idea, since that meant that the enemy was a big flank from behind from my guys, but I was not expecting it to be that kind of situation there. It does look like the enemy horse archers have run out of ammunition, which means they're now being invested in the fight, which is good for us, not so good for the enemy. My spearmen are going into the fight. We've quite effortlessly won this flank, as they did break off and go over here. So we did lose our cav. The enemy did go to a position where thankfully we had some spare hoplites to hold. I get these archers over here to try and flank the enemy cav force. These guys are holding quite fine. I'm actually surprised that the militia held out as well as they did. I'm going to reform this one over here. This one, meanwhile, I'm going to keep over here just in case something comes that I don't see. It does look like they're doing just fine. Yeah, they've got a pretty big. They got a good flank on one of my hoplite units. Not so good for us, but at least I might maybe get a good flank off with my archers here. Especially as this one gets nicely flanked and deleted off the face of the earth. I can now start bringing these guys over here to help plug up the gap in our defenses. Then I can use this cav eventually to try and get some stuff done. I'm gonna have you walk, of course, because you guys are exhausted. Battle's turning in our favor indeed. It was entirely a horse army attacking a primarily spear garrison, so definitely was good for us that we were a Hellenic faction defending. If we were probably Roman or some other faction, this would definitely be a lot harder of a defense. Looks like the enemy's starting to break through the army losses. Perfect. Exactly what we need. Boom. Defeated that massive, impressive-looking army through sheer power of strategy and making use of the terrain. Well, you know, I wasn't gonna let this faction, I keep calling Amul because that's their settlement, but it's the Bistes. I was gonna let them live, but you know, since now they've attacked me, they've declared war on my client state. You know, they're gonna just have to be incorporated into the empire. We call it a kingdom, but honestly, it's more of an empire. No, I'm going to kill you. Take your lands. After all, I have multiple spares armies ready to take it from you. Looks... I was about to say, did Frada just declare war on me? In which case, that's a problem. We've done perennial irrigation, which is perfect. Now then, we just need to finish state banking, and we'll be all done with the economy. And I'm honestly then going to start reinvesting back into military, because we have not really done much of that. We don't really need philosophy. Construction, I think, is good enough for now. I wouldn't be against getting some of the stuff over here too. So it's like, for now at least, I won't bother with it. But keep the Ares Dread right here. Landed estates. Which one gives more food? Ooh. They both have banditry problems, but this one gives more money but less food. How much is food right now? So no increase of food, but it gives me a lot more money. But I think I'd rather have food. The Roman impersonators are doing exactly what they need to do, so I'm going to send these guys to attack. To take out the Bistes army. Apparently there's a plague going on right now, which we're going to have to deal with, but oh well. Don't quite know what the plague is for, but it's definitely a thing. We're going to be spending a lot of money over the next few days trying to work on things. But let's see what the situation is over here, because apparently our ally Pergamon is doing a pretty good job, is actually fighting and taking stuff from Rome. Rome may have bitten off more than they can chew with Pergamon. I don't think they were at war with Pergamon until they declared war on me, and Pergamon was like, you know what, I'm going to help you. And it looks like Sparta's actually doing pretty well for themselves. But yeah, Rome. I wonder what's going on here. I want to see the political sphere. Their client city of Rome, so their war with Sparta, their war with the Swebels, the Galli. Looks like they might have been off war they can chew here too, but they're not at war directly with those people bordering them. Macedon's at war with Egypt and Sparta as well as Athens, so that's why they only have this small region territory over here. These guys are at war with the Swebels. Looks like the Swebels are actually very aggressive. Rome's of course at war with basically everybody in known existence except for the Aridii, who they client-stated. It's like, Rome, we could be friends. could give me trade, but apparently not. Apparently you don't want the easy way. Just do the hard way. It's fine. I'm surprised Egypt hasn't wiped these guys off the face of the earth, but I'm not against taking them out if I'm being entirely honest with you. Taking the whole Arabian Peninsula for myself. I would just need to go by boat to take them out. What's the condition of the army over here? Because I know we're making it, but I don't know how far along it is. It looks like one more turn and the centaurs will be all ready to go. And I might move those guys southeast and just have them take out Hagar, because we don't have any treaties, do we? I think it's just trade. It's not even trade, right? Yeah, we have no treaties with them. So if we do go to war with them, we'll go with the Medowi, who we are currently trading with. But we'll see how much they care. And turn. We might have to send the Roma impersonators to assist. Though the Roma impersonators won't be quite as good at dealing with the Bistes, mostly due to the fact that the Bistes are cavalry, and the Roma impersonators have the least amount of spears compared to the rest of my armies, at least. I did not want to give you military access. You can go around me. If you get step foot on my lands, Egypt, you're going to die. That's just the fact of life. You might be able to handle Rome, at least as far as I can tell, but it doesn't mean you can deal with me.
Will you stand idle? Do these insolent dogs stir nothing in your bellies? Are you turned into women?
You see, you think I'm cowardly, but I made them my client. I was going to say something else, but that's a bit more, you know, up there. Looks like they're going to attack Bukhara with this army. Bukhara, I think, can hold. Or at the very least, I can weaken them a lot, but it's not as strong of a position as the other ones. I'm tempted to auto-resolve it and then fighting them out with my army right next door, but I think I'm going to fight it out because I may not win, considering how wounded the army is. However, I can for certain weaken the enemy a lot more by fighting it out myself. That way my main army doesn't have to fight as many troops. And then leaving Bistes does mean that I could very easily take their capital for myself. So where's the victory point? The victory point's over here. Any particular choke points we can make use of? There's some terrain here that they can have. So I could just put one long line here against them, or I can try and hold here. The weakness of holding here is that they can very easily hit me with archer fire. Over here it's going to be a little bit harder. However, that means I will have to watch more directions. That is my only concern with the idea of defending over here. Especially with wounded units. So if I choose here, for example, this would be how I would have to defend. If they choose to go around me, I would have no spare troops. But if I hold here, I would have plenty of spare troops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. The reason I'm going this way is that it will give me a slight angle that I can make use of for my archers to do as much damage as possible. And also it means that my general I'm going to keep a little bit further back, partially because he might need to hold this choke point. Or even not hold, at least slow down the enemies that are there. They're inevitably going to be there. But now we got some nice a little bit of crossfire here for our archers to fire into the battle. I think it's going to be the best we're going to get. Yeah, because there's less of them, they're a lot more susceptible to being hit by archer fire. But I'm surprised none of them have died, and now they're starting to drop. I was going to say. I thought they weren't dead yet was impressive. It looks like I can start engaging my general. I'm going to move him over here because I feel like this corner is going to be the first to is going to start collapsing soon. So he'll be needed to help plug that gap. Moving my guys up to a better spot to fire. There's just enough troops to kind of keep the rest of my hoplites bogged down. Looks like they have some very light melee infantry here. Parthian axemen, those guys can go to town a little bit. Yeah, these guys are starting to get butchered. Thankfully, they're just on a tiny little corner. However, they're in a tight little corner that can open up the entire flank of my men. The rest of my militia hoplites are doing a great job of holding so far. These lone hoplites are being braided by archer fire, so I don't want to really turn their flank around, all things considered. Trying to move my general to so where he can be of assistance, especially when it comes to morale-wise, he can be of assistance as well. Yeah, like someone punched in through this small little gap here that was between them. My general's getting obliterated by archer fire. Jesus Christ. Get out of there, General. You're gonna die. As I moved him over, they all just focused him down. I need to make. Thankfully, the General himself didn't die, but his bodyguard has effectively been rendered useless for the rest of the battle. And now this battle is not really going to be one of strategy now. It's going to be one of, can we hold the line, essentially? The answer is probably not. But we'll kill as many as we can before we die. There's a very big blob there. If you guys can get some nice focus fire there, that'd be perfect. Our archers are starting to waver. Not surprising. They've taken a respectable amount of damage in this battle. But I want them to at least survive long enough to finish off all of their ammunition with this massive blob of troops. So if they can do that, they'll have done a great service to the Cimmerian kingdom. Sounds almost like Sumerian, but that's a bit of a different region. I need to start holding this flank now. I need my general to plug up this hole, even if he's small. Yep, another flank. Our flanks are being slowly broken in now. What's going on with you fools? Just turning your backs. What are you doing? That's not what I asked you to do. Now you're all dead. Thankfully, they didn't make use of that new gap in my lines, but still very inconvenient. Flank them, boys. Flank them. Our general's actually going to be the one who breaks first. I don't... dang it. It's not good for our general morale. Send this archer unit over here to try to assist. But now there's going to be some chain routing since general's broken and combined with casualties. Really does not help the situation. Once some of our men are going to start breaking, the rest of them will start breaking as the lines start falling apart and they get flanked. They did a great job with what they had. If I hadn't engaged my general, I probably might have been able to last a little bit longer, but I was hoping he wouldn't. I was hoping him being in the middle of a formation would have kept him around, but unfortunately that's not what happened. Our militias broke with that morale problem. Yeah, these guys are holding the longest, but they're going to crumble too. But I think a lot of our guys got a lot of kills for their troubles, so I think it was worth it in the end. Yeah, the enemy lost a lot more men than I did. Our general, though, got deleted by the sheer archer power from the enemy. I was just moving him from one position to another, and then he was just dead by the time he got there. It's like, what the heck? Our archers got surprisingly low amount of kills, considering I felt like they had pretty good angles for flanking shots and stuff. And a big blob of men that they could hit, but oh well. It worked out. Yeah, they may have won the battle, but I'm going to be retaking Bukhara the moment it comes back to my turn. Let's see. Loading screen. There we go. Edict canceled, not surprising considering I lost that territory, but bright side, I have an army right here, more than happy to retake Bukhara. I can even just get away with auto-resolving, honestly. But I'd rather not sacrifice troops if I don't have to. I'll take Amul. That's an easier fight. The Daha people have been defeated. The settlement is now mine. I've reclaimed my station. Farming town, perfect. I'm going to be more than happy to turn this place into another farming village for me. Now I'm going to turn these guys into a bread and games region. It cost me a little bit of food, but I'm more than happy to do it. So what is this? What is going on? This requires attention. Priestess from Dodana brings happy tidings. The rustling of the leaves has told her much of the future. We must celebrate this good news. These guys have low loyalty right now. Do I not have enough money? I don't have enough money to secure loyalty right now. That's a bit of a problem. Amul wiped out. Baktria is not in danger of being squashed by anybody in particular right now. Frada actually took Aurea from them, which is surprising to me, which means that Pura is kind of surrounded by my client state. Is kind of being boxed in by my client state. Which I find kind of funny, but I don't think they think it's quite as funny. They think they don't like the fact that I have treaties with Baktria right now. But hey, I didn't know I released Aryan troops. That must have been a oopsies. Yeah, they're not a big fan of me because of a lot of different reasons. But they are my client state, so we'll have to just keep an eye on them. Asgarta, I think, still likes us a lot, right? Yeah, they still like us a lot. So hopefully, if my client state or Pura goes against me, Asgarta might join us. Alright, so I have no money left, so might as well take Bukhara for ourselves. We're going to manually attack it, considering the game seems to think it's we're going to lose a lot of troops. I'd rather not lose my troops needlessly. So the enemy does have a big cav advantage. So our own cav is going to have to be used carefully. So I think we want to push into the center spot ourselves because, I mean, they can't really hold choke points as effectively as we could push them. So I think basically if we push with our infantry in the center and having basically using one big box, kind of push in, and then after that we could spread here and spread here. Especially these choke points, getting in here will be a good use. So we might just push in here, put like a blockade here, and push this way, where their cav won't be able to maneuver as well. Because if I go here, there'll be more room for their cav to try and make something happen. So with that in mind, we're going to get our troops all ready to go. All things considered, we're going to not be able to do a full checkerboard formation considering how small this little gap is, but it'll be good enough for me. I do like how they call themselves Royal Thorax Swordsmen. It's like not immersion breaking at all. They probably just reuse voice lines since that's easier for them. So when making new units, because these are not core units, these are DI units, if I'm not mistaken. So they're not going to be able to. They're not likely to record brand new voice lines for the mod. Especially, they already put a crazy amount of work in. I don't think they're required to go above and beyond the Call of Duty. You know. Ichiros. I'll keep these guys somewhere back here. Except for you two. Actually, I want you. I don't want you or you right now as this formation. I'm going to lock it. Honestly, the AI looks like they're doing is probably their best bet. That is making use of getting out into the open before I can get into the choke points. Looks like they're going to try stopping me from getting to my desired positions. Yep, we got charged before they can get braced. I'm going to have to get my archers to start screening where I need them to be. I mean, not my archers, my spearmen. Make sure they're screening for my archers properly, is what I mean to say. We're going to take this flank here. We're going to group them together. We're going to shift the flank this way. By doing this, I'm hoping to force the enemy to suffer a bit more. These spearmen are not as fast as I would have liked and reacting to what the enemy cav are doing, but nothing I can do about it now. These Bossor and infantry are definitely taking a lot of damage right now. Right now we're actually in probably one of the best spots we can be for this particular fight. I need you to actually deal with that enemy cav force, so get into position, buckaroos. Let me move my cav around. How are you guys doing? My guys are winning. That's perfect. I have to move my general around since that spear unit's not going to follow fast enough, so we're just going to have to hold. These guys ready to fire. Actually, I want my spearmen more over here. These guys can stay back a little bit. Okay, my guys properly positioned. let's get involved in the fight now, you guys in the back. Where's my... Oh, these guys are chasing them a little more, not where I thought they were going to be. So chase them out. They pushed through one of my first line of boss friends, but I still have plenty more where that came from. I'm going to start moving. I'm going to move these guys up to where I need them to be. As we're slowly pushing through their infantry lines. We're doing just fine, however. Move these archers up to where I need them to be. I'm going to try making use of my ranged units to try and push these guys, to try and kind of get them. Especially if I can push around them with my current units, that'd be even better. Basically, try not to prompt their flight response, but try and prompt them to... but basically, we get they try running away, they'll be officially boxed in and unable to do that. Where's my general? Let's get him over. Let's get him engaged. So far, the plan is actually working out. Because the enemy is yet to run away, and we're slowly pushing through their infantry. Getting my if I can get my general back here, I can finish off that. I can scare off that last unit. It looks like all of my archers have run out of ammo, so now is really the time to start pushing in that box idea that I had. Because the AI will not want to, they will not take themselves off skirmish mode, so what better than to box them in with what they want to see. I just realized these guys are charged into my missiles. Let me deal with them accordingly. Okay, these guys are doing a good job of holding, but they're hopelessly outmatched. Cav needs to come back. They've been running themselves ragged when they don't have to. Alright, now the enemy's ranged cav is going to be unable to escape as they are now officially trapped. Yeah, they charged right into a spear line. I do not know what they were thinking when they did that. But it was definitely foolish. Alright, time to, I think, squeeze this noose around the enemy archers. As they are now trapped. Yeah, our spearmen, our cavalry doing just fine, taking those guys out. Yep, now this is when they're like, oh no, we're trapped, what are we gonna do? And then now they realize they have no escape. They can just perish. Well, just because they are surrounded does not mean they're not dangerous. They can still put up a pretty good fight. Mostly through just sheer force of numbers. However, One by one they fall, and one by one they die. Let's see. One more to go. And now there's just one enemy left over here. Everyone else is broken. Revenge for our poor garrison who fought so bravely to hold Bukhara, but were unable to do so. We lost 550 men. The one unit who took a lot of damage was that one who was like right in the center, so they like kind of all swarmed him. But he was able to run away, and the next line was able to basically keep up the fight. That's the point of that checkerboard formation, is that basically the pressure will get one unit, but there's still units behind them who are basically resting while the enemy is just throwing themselves to the front line, tiring themselves out needlessly. Here we go. They have been wiped out, leaving Baktria alive to rebuild and replenish. I'm hoping that Baktria gets strong enough that they might be able to force a peace, because I mean, originally Baktria was allied, or at least friendly, with these guys, but looks like they're still worth all of my enemies. Apparently, Daha is still considered alive somewhere in my cell. In fact, oh, I guess it's this one right here. If you really call them even alive at that point. Let me check where my forces are. I have that guy there. This guy's over there. I'm going to ship him off now, because I need to get him across the ocean, right? Because as we're... I mean, ideally you wouldn't be where you are now. So that basically I'm going to send them off to basically take that large Scythian settlement nearby me when the war starts. That way we're positioned to immediately swallow 2 Scythian settlements as the war starts. I really am curious to see if there's actually somewhere I can go there. Do I have a spy? Yeah, my spy. I want you to just to see if... yeah, it looks like I've got champions that I've captured. I'm just going to use them for scouting purposes, as we are getting ready to fight a war in the east. But have them start patrolling just to make some money out of their resistance back, just like the rest of them are. Yeah, this army, meanwhile, I'm tempted to leave it in the southeast just in case. Maybe I'll actually just take out Hagar. Because if you refuse... this is definitely one of those moments where I wish we had the option of, you know, join us, or like, you know, trade with me, or we will attack kind of situation. I mean, that option would be nice. You know, they actually brought that back in Warhammer 3, where you can threaten them, which is basically, you know, the equivalent of, you know, accept or we will attack. You know, part of me wants Rome to win, at least winning that part of the war. That way, when I get to them, you'll actually be a threat. If they're not going to be a threat when I get there, then, well, that's just a letdown. I need to re-review the objectives real fast as well. There's a Scythian navy right there, which concerns me. Well, it's partially because I didn't even realize they had a navy. But that might be their... If they're the ones who want to start the war, then that's their problem right there. I'm sorry, Asgarza. You're not going to be able to convince me to join that war against my own client state. That would actually put me as unreliable and untrustworthy and things like that, which is not a good thing. New political appointment. Amul has a rebellion already. Mesopotamia has banditry. I mean, they don't even have that bad banditry. Honestly, kind of impressed. Gonna have you guys go all the way to Charax. Maybe I'll make a navy down there. See if I have the money to spare for it. The politiques are definitely being a bit of a interesting conundrum. I'm surprised I have such a big drain on my resources compared to this last turn. I mean, if you guys are the problem, I'm just gonna wipe you out. Better screw off, buckaroo. Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot to move those guys. Thankfully, it did it for me. No! Oh, no. Okay, good. It did not. It actually fixed it for me. We're good. We're good. We're good. No, wait. No, we're not good. Never mind. No! Oh, well. Scythians attack, then Scythians attack, I guess. Let's see. They have war with the allies. You know, it's hard to tell. You know, if Rome is basically being belligerent, or if they're being friendly. It's really hard to tell sometimes. Yeah, I can officially say all is now calm in the east, at least for now. There's no guarantee. There's a chance that there might be peace. It definitely looks like Scythian's like, is it worth attacking now? How about now? It looks like Friday is actually decided to attack after all. What? Oh, it's a rebel army. I didn't even realize there was a rebel army. That was fast. I'll let it spawn and then I'll just have to kill it. Simple as that. Unless the AI cheats, then... then the AI cheats. There's nothing I can do about it. A mule is a mole. And you're dead again. Okay, that was a bit inconvenient. That's what you did, because I was trying to convert this over to something useful for me. Let's see. Local Agora. Maybe I'll do local Agora. I don't know why I can't follow them and kill them, but apparently the game's just being a butthead. Let's see, I've still got some military traditions I can start inputting. Let's see, what do we got here? Still, Buddhistic for the settlements. I do like that. Considering, I think I'm going to go for medium siege engines, I think is what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to be besieging multiple settlements. That might be useful. A rounding force is probably more valuable for now. Oh, I guess I get another one, so I guess I'll go for that siege expert. Another one too. Okay. I like that replenishment bonus, and I would also like bonus campaign movement and line of sight. Our income is now back up to where it's supposed to be. I guess that bandit thing was referring to like the next turn sequence. There we go. Make some money back. Let's see what the situation is in Roma. Yeah, it looks like the situation hasn't really changed since we last looked. Macedon still has one settlement. Pergamon's still doing work, with their army just sitting there. Rome has a full stack right outside Delaman, but they're not attacking. So either they're scared or they're friends. It's hard to tell. Another full stack over here. That is a full navy, but I don't think a navy won't really beat an army in a land battle usually. Oh, Knossos! I'm impressed. Knossos has apparently landed an army and taken Sparta. I am impressed, Knossos.
I am honored to receive this embassy, and will listen with interest to all you have to say.
I'm honestly impressed about Knossos. I mean, I played as Knossos before and made myself a respectable empire, but this is the AI we're talking about here, man. That's makes it a bit more impressive, I think. So yeah, is that maxed out, or do I still need to save up for it? No, it's maxed out. Okay, good. Where is that scout? Just to double check, yeah, it looks like this is the edge of the map. So it looks like if we choose to send this army from near Amul north, they will be basically pushing into the same spot as these guys, and I'll basically just have them spread out and take over. So I'm thinking between these two armies, I want this one to go north, and this one I'm going to have maybe stay in the east for a little while, keep an eye out for any potential rebellions that might build up, or keep an eye out for our client states acting up, as they're still not our biggest fans. Yeah, client state 1 still hates us for, you know, everything we've done against them, but I mean, it makes sense, though. Makes sense. Yeah, Scarta still likes us well enough, so I'm fine with that. You know, playing all, you know, politic and stuff has its own problems and rewards, as you might very well know. Now, we've officially taken over the majority of the Middle East. So now it is time to conquer Europe. I wonder where Rome. I wonder if Rome's at war with Knossos, because that army's pretty close. Or maybe Pergamon's at war with Knossos. They'd be kind of funny because they're both my allies, but we'll see. Lots of AI movement, but nothing really happening over there. Iceni, Scythia, Rhodes. I'm quite happy that these two client states I made have not actually gone to war immediately with me, like the Armenians did. I was like, come on, Armenia. Maybe they have, you know, too many enemies with each other, like, so they're not really inclined to do so. I wonder where Asgard is sending their armies. Unless they've made peace with Baktria, they're kind of leaving themselves wide open. Athens would no longer have a trade because Rome has conquered Athens. It's a client state of them, I assume, and made them a new faction. So what is it? It's not this one. No, though apparently you're new. Where is it? Have I technically not discovered them? So new factions rise. Athenoi Terranoi. I assume it's like a dictatorship now? Like, that's kind of like follows under Rome. Faction joins the war. Dalma against Athens. So I guess they must be friends. Yeah, Athens has been destroyed and been replaced, but apparently I cannot communicate with this new faction. But let's see, Rome. Apparently they are not a client state, so they must have, like, just created a new faction on top of it. Sparta has been wiped out because as Rome has taken Larissa, which was the last Spartan settlement, since Knossos had taken Sparta itself, which still amazes me. So it does look like the situation in the west is looking a little bit dire for the Greeks. However, Pergamon does have 3 full stacks in the region, so I'm not overly concerned about Pergamon right now. Unless that contains their whole military might, in which case I am a little bit concerned. The fact that the full military might is there. So I need more public order buildings in this region because squalor is becoming a big problem. Could I afford? I cannot secure anyone's loyalty right now. That's what I was thinking. Is like, could I afford to secure anyone's loyalty? Apparently, the answer is no. Growth, sanitation, public order. Go for growth. I mean, should not be concerned about banditry, so I might take the more extra money then. Okay, since we have the northeastern part of the map, I'm going to start sending these guys northwards. And hopefully in an area where they can start replenishing at least. Come on. Oops, I sent these guys in the wrong direction. I mean, the Ares Dread is where I want them to be, but I'm realizing I'm sending these guys not where I intended to send them. I wipe out the last of the faction, please, and thank you. And they're gone. The last remnants of Daha has been officially wiped out. I'm going to start sending this army down over here. Send them westward, because they're not going to be too much use in the north, where spears and cavalry is king. Let's see, has Baktria been able to reform an army? Are they going to get whipped? It looks like they've been able to reform an army, so I think they can probably hold out against being completely wiped out by Frada. You're just a governor, never mind. I was thinking about that there might be a problem there, but then I realized, actually, no, it's just fine. I'm going to make a dignitary here if I can. No, I can't afford it. I'm too broke right now. It's too expensive, man. It's too expensive. Alright, guys. This is going to be the end of the episode here. Next episode is going to be our invasion of Scythia. As one war ends, our supremacy in a region is secured. It's time to make new supremacy elsewhere, specifically in Scythia. Take care, guys. If you guys like the video, press that like button down below. Subscribe to see more of my content. Feel free to comment down below. I always try to get back to you guys within a day or two. Sometimes I forget, but usually I try to. Usually is usually, okay? Not all the time. Alright. Have a good day, night, evening, wherever you guys may be. Bye-bye.